Hello, friends, and welcome to Adventures in Pixieland. We are in Bible study. My name is Amy. I am an ordained minister, and we are in the NIV. We are doing the Old Testament and the Psalms this year, so we will be in the NIV all year. We will start doing comparison language for the Proverbs of the KJV once we've accumulated enough. That'll be an extra video that happens. Chapter 7, though, in Genesis right now. We're listening to the story of Noah, and we are going to be doing verses 1 through 24. Okay? So, chapter 7, verse 1. The Lord said to Noah, "Go into the ark, you and your whole family, because I have found you righteous in this generation. Take with you 7 7 pairs of every kind of clean animal." And it's made, I thought it was just 1 pair. 7 makes more sense. And 2 of every unclean animal. Oh, you see that's 7 of every animal you can eat, 2 of every animal you can't eat. Because clean and unclean had to do with their dietary habits. A male and its mate. And also 7 of every kind of bird, male and female, to keep their various kinds alive throughout the earth. Yeah, that makes more diversity. 7 days from now, I will send rain on the earth for 40 days and 40 nights, and I will wipe from the face of the earth every living creature I have made. Now, there is some historical evidence of some floods. Scientists are out on whether or not it's a worldwide flood, but certainly within these regions, there was a flood, and there's evidence of flood activity in various places. Lots and lots of different cultures have flood stories. This is the Jewish one of those. If you were to investigate others from that same time period, you will find other flood stories. And Noah did all that the Lord commanded him. Of course he did. That's why he found you righteous. Noah was 600 years old when the flood waters came to the earth, and Noah and his sons and his wives and his wife and his sons' wives entered the ark to escape the waters of the flood. Pairs of clean and unclean animals, of birds and all creatures that moved along the ground, male and female, came to Noah and entered the ark, as God had commanded Noah. And after 7 days, the flood waters came on the earth. In the 600th year of Noah's life, on the 17th day of the 2nd month, which totally sounds like a journal entry, on that day all the springs of the great deep burst forth, and the floodgates of heaven were opened, and rain fell on the earth 40 days and 40 nights. And on that very day, Noah and his sons, Shem, Ham, and Japheth, together with his wife, and the wives of his 3 sons, entered the ark. They had with them every kind of wild animal according to its kind, all livestock according to their kind, every creature that moves moving along the ground according to its kind, and every bird according to its kind, everything with wings. Pairs of creatures that have the breath of life in them came to Noah and entered the ark. So they were alive, because everything that's alive has the breath of life into them. They're breathing, so they have the breath of life. The animals going in were male and female of every living thing, as God has commanded Noah. Then the Lord shut him in. For 40 days, the flood kept on coming on the earth, and the waters increased. They lifted the ark high above the earth, above the ground. They couldn't see the ground anymore. The waters rose and increased greatly on the earth, and the ark floated on the surface of the water. They rose greatly on the earth, and all the high mountains under the entire heavens were covered. The waters rose and covered the mountains to the depth of more than 20 feet. D and E. D is 15 cubits or 6.9 meters, and E is or rose more than 20 feet, and the mountains were covered. Okay. One's a dimension, the other one is a descriptor. Which is good, because otherwise that boat would be in danger of running aground when it's being tossed around by the the waters that were rising. I'm assuming it's turbulent, but the waters that are rising, because this is a storm, right? Waters that are rising. If the mountains are just barely covered by this, and the waters, then you're on the boat, and it's got, because for it to work, a certain amount of the ship has to be under the water. It doesn't all float on the top. If it's going to move, it's got to cut the water if it's going to move the right way. Every living thing that moved on the earth perished. Birds, livestock, wild animals, all the creatures that swarm over the earth, and all of mankind. So humans were awful, and the entire world had to be destroyed. Everything on dry land that had the breath of life in its nostrils died. Every living thing on the face of the earth was wiped out. Men and animals and the creatures that moved along the ground and the birds of the air were wiped from the earth. Only Noah was left, and those with him in the ark. The waters flooded the earth for 150 days. So he was locked up in there for 40 of it while it rose. So almost 200 days in that ark with his wife and kids and every manner of living creature. I'm sure it must have smelled fantastic.